Once there is a transformation in the psyche, in the mind, in terms of what is real, what is unreal, what is important, what is not important, what will give permanent solution to problems, what will give temporary solution to problems, if at all there is a solution. When we try to discern, discriminate, and in a sense try to look at things from a more spiritual standpoint, then there is a possibility that there will be no attachment. You will be very much involved in the day-to-day functioning of whatever you are doing, but there will be no attachment. So even if you lose, even if you do not win a particular argument or a particular game or a particular whatever you are aiming at, there won't be suffering because of the detachment. Similarly, why do we fear? We fear that something will get lost. We fear that because I have identified myself with the body and I am looking at somebody else as another body, and that another body is more strong, is more influential, is more wild, is more vociferous than me. Am I making sense? Then I fear because I feel I am small, somebody else is big. But when we realize that ultimately the other is no other but a form of Meher Baba, let's put it that way, or my own form, then there is a possibility of that fear getting gradually diminished altogether. Now your Baba says, what does it, what is that fear? Why do people fear? Baba says, because they are afraid of losing the thing they want to possess. In other words, I think the answer is limited to whatever the environment over there may be, in terms of losing something. But the fear may be of so many different types. You are afraid of something else. Now if I have done something wrong, I am afraid that I don't get caught. You must have seen that when somebody breaks a signal on the traffic, if you see Pandu Havalda standing there, immediately you feel, oh my God, I hope he has not seen me. That kind of thing. Or if you do some chori chapati in a store or that, and then you are very watchful that I hope nobody has seen me, you just pocket something. So in other words, these are also different types of fears, where I would look at it this way, that by and large, if we, in a sense, consciously and knowingly violate any principles or laws which are supposed not to be violated and all that, then there is a fear that you may lose that, you may be caught. That is how I would look at it. But here Baba is very beautifully saying that you are, as I said, it may be contextual to what Baba is saying. You are afraid that you will lose something which you want to possess, and that is why there is a fear. What are the means to be fearless? See, any problem, Baba has very beautifully said somewhere else that in the domain of spirituality, all problems can be resolved. In the domain of other aspects, like physicality. Physicality means physical problem I have. Now, in that physicality, the solution may not be there. But in a spiritual aspect, the solution is that I am not this body. So the problem is only connected with my body. But that is not me. My body is like a shirt. To what a shirt is to my body is to my spirit or soul. Isn't it? So if a shirt has a little tear or a little spot or a little dark or something, it doesn't really matter. I need not be so overtly worried about it or concerned about it. So there is a solution in the spiritual domain. That way. So this is the physical aspect. Similarly the financial aspect. Similarly the social aspect. So every aspect, wherever there may be a problem, the solution is there in the spiritual domain, where the spirit is predominant, the spirit is eternal, the spirit is immortal, the spirit in a sense is untouched, unaffected. If you really know, then everything that is happening to me is happening at a very periphery level or superfluous level, which should not have a very deep and profound impact on me. Me means the real me, the real I. Once we understand that aspect of Baba's teachings, if you may, then to a very great extent it does not affect us, it does not bother us. So here Baba says, the question is, what are the means to be fearless. The only possible means is the spiritual change of heart. So same thing, spiritual change of heart means to look at things from a spiritual perspective. From a spiritual point of view, what we have to look at it. That only.
What do you mean by spiritual view? I mean,
from a spiritual perspective.
Like?
Now, for example, let us say, as I said, I am afraid that I have amassed a lot of wealth, and then now what will happen to my 500 and 1000 rupee notes? Assuming.
Yeah.
There's a fear, no?
No.
There's no fear.
At least I didn't have.
So you tell me a fear which you think, then we will try to make it how from a spiritual perspective we can look at it. You tell me your fear, or let anybody tell me a fear. This is what I fear. Huh?
I can't think
He's
of anything.
fearless.
I can't think of it right now.
Anybody, because what Baba is trying to say is that every aspect, if we look at it, if we perceive it from a spiritual perspective, then to that extent it is that the solution lies in the spiritual domain. That's what Baba is trying to say.
For example,
No 500 rupee note only.
No. So now if I look at it that way, from a spiritual perspective, after all, philosophy, when I came, how did I come? Not even much
I
a
will
deep.
say one thing.